So you're probably wondering who this woman is and why she is on my screen right now. Well, this woman is Marie Henein, and she was the defense lawyer for Jian Ghomeshi. Now I don't know if she's going to be his defense lawyer in the next trial he's facing, but she had a pretty lengthy interview with the National last night. And it's almost 20 minutes long, so God only knows how long this video is going to be. Probably like 40 minutes or something. But, this was Jian Ghomeshi's defense lawyer. I know. The feminists must be losing their fucking shit over it. That a woman dared to defend a rapist. Oh my God. Jian Ghomeshi is always going to be guilty in these people's eyes. And the fact that his defense lawyer is a woman is going to drive them even more insane. It's going to drive them crazy. They are going to go around like ripping their heads out, yelling, I believe survivors, I believe survivors. I can't. So much stupid in the world. So much stupid. I can only take so much. I can only take so much. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. I'm going to play the interview, and I will interrupt every now and then with my commentary. Oh, come on.
You've been a lawyer for 25 years. You've been practicing law.
Yes.
You've done a lot of high-profile cases. At that moment when a trial ends, you walk out of the courtroom, are you still sort of in the moment, or do you let it go as you leave the courtroom?
But I'm thinking about the next case.
Really, that fast? You're already thinking of the next case?
I am. It's just a function of my personality. I'm thinking about the next case, yeah.
I can definitely respect that, because I have a very similar personality in that regard. I might have a moment of euphoria, like, yeah, I win, or, whatever, or, oh, fuck, it sucks that I lost. Let me see what I can do to, re-examine what happened here and make sure that I don't lose next time. Not that I'm a lawyer, so I don't know why I'm saying this, but yeah, it's a very a type A-ish personality. Interesting.
But today, you've chosen to kind of look back in a sense, not at the trial in particular, but in what happened surrounding the trial. Why?
Well, I'm here reluctantly, as you know, and have
But you're here.
But I am here, and I think the reason I'm here, that I know the reason that I'm here, is that a number of people that I really value, who are justice actors, thought that it was important, as a person who spent 25 years of her life in this system, to perhaps address some of the misconceptions, because it's a system I believe in and I value very much, and I think we should all be proud of. And so that part of the discussion has been very distressing to me.
Good idea.
It was a controversial case.
Right.
You were central in a lot of the coverage of it. You
Apparently,
were
yes.
a polarizing figure to different groups. How comfortable were you personally with that?
Well, I can't focus on that. It's not a matter of my comfort level. You would never go to a surgeon and ask them how comfortable are you operating on me. You expect them to do the job. So people are entitled to their views of you and of the case, and I respect that. And you put it out of your head.
Do you
Ha! I like her. I really do. If I ever need a criminal defense lawyer, she's the one. But I live nowhere near Toronto, so that's probably not going to happen. But she's. I like her so far. I like her.
respect it when women say you betrayed them? Some women say you betrayed them?
I respect their right to say it. I don't respect their opinion or agree with it. I know who I am. I know what my beliefs are. There's no question in my mind. And I don't feel the need to have to justify myself.
She has internalized misogyny. She has been brainwashed by the patriarchy that got her good. Ah! That's probably what's going through the mind of every feminist watching this section right here. Oh my God, how dare a woman defend someone who is obviously guilty? You know? How dare she? Fucking hell. God.
Do you think the same would have been said about a male lawyer?
Well,
Like
I
the
don't
things
think
that are being said about you.
I don't think the same thing is said about a male lawyer, or when, more importantly, males disagree with each other or are on opposite sides of the things. You're not viewed as a person who betrays your gender. You're viewed as people who disagree.
So when they say, as some said, that you...
You know, this woman would give Sargon of Akkad a run for his money. He really would. Or she really would. Oh my God, I fucked up the pronouns. She would be a great anti-feminist YouTuber. I really think I really think so, but that'll probably never happen.
Use that old phrase, there's a special place in hell for women who don't help women.
Oh, well, I know what my role is in the justice system. And to characterize it in that way, that you are against women, is a fundamental misconception of what we do in the justice system. I mean, female judges adjudicate all sorts of cases, including sexual assault cases. They are not traitors to the gender when they acquit, and they are not supporters of the gender when they convict. They are doing their job, as am I.
And the feminazis can't see this. It's totally oblivious to them. They have been so brainwashed. No, I should... Let me rephrase that. This woman has been so brainwashed by the patriarchy that she can't see all the harm that she's doing. Oh, God. Oh, God. You know, there's... I remember why I only do one of these videos a day, usually. Or maybe like 2 or 3 a week. Because I can't handle stupid. You know, I'm just like trying to like going back and forth between the protagonist and the antagonist here, and the more stupid that comes out of my own mouth, the worse my head hurts. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You saw the I Believe Survivors line used a lot before this case started, during the case, and immediately after, and by some reasonably prominent people,
right.
Including prominent politicians. Tom Mulcair, leader of the NDP.
That's very interesting. I haven't seen Justin Trudeau tweet it yet, or at least I'm not aware of it. I don't check Twitter feed every 20 fucking seconds, like I'm sure every other fucking feminist who has a huge ass crush on him probably does.
Not just a politician, but a lawyer. When you hear people use that line, how do you react to that?
Well, it depends on who's using that line, right? Hashtag I believe is not a legal principle, nor should it ever be, because you can't believe people based on who they are or the nature of the crime. We would never want that. And historically, when that has happened, it's never been to the benefit of the most disadvantaged or the most marginalized. So we don't presumptively believe police officers. We don't presumptively believe politicians or priests or whatever it is. So on a personal level, if somebody wants to express their support, that's their choice. When a politician weighs in, that's a little more concerning to me, because you're a person who is engaged and should be more knowledgeable about what you're commenting on. And when you are denigrating the legal system in which you worked, and which you should actually be very proud of. We have one of the greatest legal systems in the world. And you do so not having read a word of transcript and not having informed yourself of the case. That's disappointing and not something I would put much stock in.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. You just totally tore Thomas Mulcair a new asshole. Good job.
But it sure does get you a lot of votes, doesn't it?
That's awesome. Fucking hell. It sure gets you love. Well, I don't know. Now there's going to be a huge split vote between the Liberals and the NDP in the next election. Maybe the Conservatives will win. I love it. I love it when people call out bullshit like this.
Does it?
It might. Gets you attention.
And you feel that they were denigrating the system?
I think
the way they use that?
I think there are lots of ways you can engage in a discussion which is measured and informed and genuinely helpful to the community. And as a politician, that would not be one of them in my view.
Well, let's talk about what would be a valuable assessment of the system, because kind of central to the discussion I hope to have with you is, one, was justice served in this trial? And two, is the system failing? So if we take the first one, was justice served?
Absolutely. Justice does not mean that you are guaranteed the result that you want.
Boom. And all the feminazis had just exploded.
You're neither guaranteed a conviction nor an acquittal, no matter what the case. Justice does not mean you will be presumptively believed or that your evidence will not be tested. If that is what we mean by justice, then this is the wrong system. I tell my clients the same thing. You're not guaranteed a result. That's not how the system works. You know what you're guaranteed? You're guaranteed an opportunity to be heard, and you're guaranteed a fair trial. That is it. But, you know, guaranteed results isn't just.
But they're going deeper than that. They're saying justice wasn't served.
Yeah, well, I think it depends on, as I said, how you define it. I think, in my view, if what you're saying justice wasn't served is I didn't give you the result that you wanted and you thought you were entitled to, then I guess you could say that in a colloquial way, but I think justice was served. I think it is pretty significant that in one of the highest profile cases, in one of the cases where everybody had an opinion, sitting on their couch, tweeting it out in 140 characters or less, where people expressed opinions not having heard a word of evidence, that you knew that you could walk into court and that there would be an impartial person that would decide on the evidence that is heard. And that happens not just in this case, but each and every single day, that we would not issue judgments based on what you think the result should be. That's an extraordinary thing. That's something that we should be incredibly proud of in this country, because that means every single one of us has a fair shake. And so you can tweak the system, you can criticize the system in a knowledgeable way, and it does. It constantly gets recalibrated, as it should. But slam dunk results, guaranteed results, presumptions, that's not what a fair system is about.
If there was like a feminist hell, if there actually was like a feminist hell, this woman would be their Satan. I'm not kidding. I love it. I love it.
Right. Well, you're taking us into the issue then of whether or not the system as it stands today is fair, and whether it needs to be tweaked, whether it needs to be recalibrated. And central, it seems, to this question is in sex assault cases, in a he said, the classic he said, she said situation, that if the he, in the he said, doesn't testify or isn't on the stand, it's only the she who's challenged in terms of their credibility. And whether or not, in these kind of cases, that's fair.
Well, that is called the presumption of innocence. So if we want to reassess what the presumption of innocence is, there is a reason why a person who is charged with a crime is entitled to say, state, you've chosen me as the person you think has committed the crime. You bear the burden of proof. So that question is tied in to our fundamental belief in the burden of proof and the presumption of innocence. The minute you are sitting across from me in a chair in this office, you understand the full weight of the state against you. You understand how insignificant you are, and that we cannot remember those lessons and understand why we say you state, if you have chosen me, must bear the burden of proof, and you must prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, is to forget about the presumption of innocence. Now, let me just address the he said, she said issue. Cases are often determined on credibility. Most evidence is circumstantial. Most evidence does turn on credibility. And that requires a judge to engage in an assessment of it. And so if you can't look at the credibility of a person or the reliability of a person or inconsistency or what their explanations are for saying certain things, then what we should probably do is just not have a system at all. And you can just say what you wish, and we'll go straight to conviction. We don't want that.
I don't think anybody is challenging the presumption of innocence. The issue is, in trials like this, is one of fairness, where the stories of the complainants are challenged in an appropriate way that the system allows, and yet the position of the accused is not challenged at all, if they choose not to go on the stand.
What people need to understand, and what is always stunning to people that I have dealt with for the past 25 years, whether they are the Attorney General or whoever it is how easy it is to find yourself sitting in my office. How easy it is to have the weight of the state and the police force and the extraordinary resources that they have when a finger of blame is pointed at you. And so in those circumstances, we say, you have to prove the case. And that is true of any case. There's nothing special about the type of crime.
Well, that is the question. Is there anything special about a sex assault case?
No.
I get it when you're talking about a bank robbery or even a murder.
No.
But a sex assault case shouldn't be treated in any way differently.
Well,
you've heard some are arguing for that difference.
No, it shouldn't be treated any differently in the sense of that the presumption of innocence is set aside or reasonable doubt is thrown out the window. We would not want that. We cannot have this discussion divorced from wrongful convictions, something that we know occurs not only in this country, but everywhere in the world. And those wrongful convictions occur in sexual assault cases. So I'm all for trying to do better. It's just that the conversation should be informed and should be dispassionate and should be meaningful and should be objective.
If the things were to be done better, what's the one suggestion you'd make?
Resources. I think, having worked in the system for 25 years.
Resources for whom?
The resources I think that are required are, first of all, the Crown resourcing is, in my view, not sufficient. There is a great deal of resourcing that can be done on that end to allow for the amount of attention that is required. And I can tell you this case, the one thing about any high-profile case is they are over-resourced. Not under-resourced. So in this case...
Who is the Crown?
The Crown is over-resourced, the police are fully resourced, the witnesses are fully resourced.
But over-resourced?
Well, in high-profile cases, whether or not it's warranted, if it is getting the attention of people, they are very, very well-resourced.
So you were up against an over-resourced opposition?
No, properly resourced, but you'd like that resourcing to be across the board.
The Ontario government moved within days, if not hours,
right,
to say it was going to put more money aside
right,
for resources for
right,
complainants.
Right.
That's a good thing?
That's a fine thing. I mean, in this case, of course, the complainants all had lawyers. And so the government has responded in this way, and there is nothing wrong with that. It provides people with information. It allows them to understand what the system's about. It allows them to understand their rights. I think that's a productive thing.
Are we at a critical point in the way we look at, assess, analyze, even tweak the system when it comes to sexual assault crimes?
I don't think so. We have a very, very good system. So if it's topical, if it's something that we have as a society chosen to discuss, then that's a good thing. It doesn't mean we're in crisis. It means we are doing what we should always do as a community and a society, which is to look at ourselves and to say, you know, is this right? Can we do better? And in what areas can we do better? And then we proceed to do that. And that's why we're constantly evolving and we're constantly changing. That, in my view, is not a negative thing, provided it's done in a meaningful way and in a way that at the end of the day, we are actually moving forward and not just getting a 140 character tweet out, because nobody changed the world doing that.
Oh, yeah, no, she's even willing to admit, you know, the system isn't perfect. But, you know, in my opinion, and probably I would like to think hers as well, I don't think any system will be 100% perfect ever, because it's designed by humans. End of story.
You know, I read somewhere that you don't turn down any cases. Somebody comes to you, they want you to defend them, you say yes. Is that true? Is it as black and white as that?
Well, there's actually a school of thought on that in legal ethics. And so, for example, in England, they have the cab rank rule, which is that as a barrister, a true barrister, you have an obligation to represent anybody that comes to you. Look, I won't do a case that I feel I can't do the best job at, and so I refer cases out where I think I'm just not the right person for you.
Why did you take this one?
Well, this one is like any other one. There's nothing, unusual about it for me. It would be one of many cases in this office of this nature. We do a range of things, as do I. So there's nothing particular about this.
The profile and nature of it didn't influence your decision at all?
It would probably influence it not in the direction you would think, which is it would influence it for me not to take it.
Yeah,
not to take it at all. Actually.
I can definitely see why she wouldn't want to take it. Absolutely.
It didn't?
No. But if it were to weigh in the balance, it would not be weighing in the balance in favor of taking the case.
You mentioned earlier the power of social media throughout this trial.
Right.
The kind of live tweeting that was going on right in the courtroom, right behind you, I gather. But the other tweeting that was going on is people reacting to you.
Right.
And, I don't know how active you are on social media. I know you used to be on Twitter and you got out of it. But there was lots on this. So I just want to read you three. To
get my reaction?
Well, to try to get a sense of how you feel about the kind of things that are being said about you. These were all on Facebook. Helen Argyro. Brave Marie Henein. You've just set women's rights and the rights of assault victims back 70 years. Chuck Basty. You are on the wrong side of history, so congratulations on your legacy. Marley Revel Brown. Feels like a betrayal from a sister. Now, you're a feminist.
Yeah.
You take lots of cases on
Sure.
other issues,
Yeah.
and you name some of the issues that concern you. Now, these people weren't alone. There were people defending you
Right.
and saying good things about you, including some of those who were sitting across from you in this trial. But when you see stuff like that, it seems to go beyond just they were looking for a different result. They have strongly felt feelings about what happened in that room and the role you played in it.
Well, and they're entitled to express it. But I would have quit this job a long time ago if I was listening and waiting for people's approval. I know what my role is in the system. I know what my ethics are. I know who I am. And I'm not about to send myself back into the kitchen because somebody doesn't like what I do. That's not going to happen, not today or not ever. But boy, I'm glad they can express themselves because we live in that country, and that is an extraordinary thing. And just as you can choose to express yourself, I can choose to put weight on it or not put weight on it.
And she's a feminist. After all this, I didn't even know that about her. I watched a little bit of this interview before I started playing it here. I didn't get this far, and she is a feminist. Wow. I really like her. She's cool. She's all right in my books.
Did anybody not get hurt in this case?
Well, that's a very, very good question, because having spent so much time in the legal system, it is devastating. It's devastating to many people. And there was another person in that courtroom, that was Mr. Ghomeshi, who many months ago had his life turned upside down. And it has been a painful and very difficult process. And I have seen a lot of people. This amount of attention has been extraordinary and crushing, and it would be devastating to anybody. I mean, I'm the lawyer and I'm getting a small percentage of it, so it's hard. And you know what I tell every client that comes in, again, whether they're the Attorney General or the many, many regular people that we deal with, or the many marginalized people that we deal with, is that what I can promise you is a fair trial. I cannot promise you a result, but the one thing I promise you is you will never, ever be the same again. I cannot put you back to the day that you sat at home and you were not charge, because that lives with you forever. The experience lives with you forever. The trauma, the emotional stress of it lives with you forever. So the court system has an ability to do only so much. But it'll never give you everything, whether you're accused, whether you're a witness, it just cannot. It won't put you back where you came from. It won't give you, that moment that you were walking down the street and you were not charged with a crime, or you did not have to come and testify in a courtroom. It will give you an opportunity to be heard. It will give you a fair trial. And then you live the rest of your life with that, and you try to recover from it. And it's hard. It's a very, very, very hard thing to go through.
So you saying that even though he was found not guilty, that he was the most damaged person leaving that room?
No, I'm saying that he is one of the many people that go through the legal system, and that when you come out on the other side of it, it is something that you will carry with you always.
I really enjoyed the interview. I wonder if she has any books or anything. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. I didn't put as much commentary in as I thought. This video is only about 26 minutes long, so yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. And I will also link to this interview in the comments below, in the, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, thanks for watching. Steve Talon out.